Today I have a bit of a different style of video that I'm going to be sharing with you that is, different to what I've been recently posting on the YouTube channel. And that is a interview with my beautiful coaching client, Kate, who has just absolutely crushed her transformation journey. Her results have truly been exceptional. And I think one of the problems in the fitness industry is that we can see these before and afters. We can see the external transformation of what someone has achieved, but we don't always get to see the internal transformation. And with Kate, there was so much mindset work involved that led her to be able to achieve this physical transformation. She's a completely different person now. And I think that it is just so valuable to be able to listen to someone's journey and how they've grown and how they've really broken through limiting beliefs and stepped outside of their comfort zone in order to be able to, quote unquote, take it to the next level. So I hope that you really enjoy this interview. I know that there are just so many nuggets of wisdom in there that Kate had to share about her experience and about the process that she went through. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you on the other side.
Kate, welcome to this client success interview. We've already posted your mind-blowing transformation pictures alongside this interview. So the girls will be coming in with a bit of context as to why you're getting interviewed and the experience you obviously had on the program. But what the girls won't know is how crazy your lifestyle has been during that process.
Yes.
And
as I said before we jumped on, we have never worked with anyone who's had such a busy schedule. You're literally in different places almost every single week. Sometimes you have access to a kitchen, sometimes you don't. You're dealing with jet lag. It's been a lot.
Give the girls a bit of background about what you do and just the role you have.
Yeah, no problem. So I work in professional baseball. So most of the year we're playing games, we play preseason games, we have training camps. We have 225 athletes that I'm responsible for. So the role is incredibly demanding. The days are long. The schedule is always evolving. It's not like I get to sit down at the beginning of the year and say, okay, I'm going to do these trips and that'll be it. It's much more spur of the moment and based on need. And wherever I go, I need to show up and be ready to do what I need to do to help the players and staff that I'm working with. So for me, I think the biggest thing that I've learned and that I've put into action in this program is really nailing down the non-negotiables, the things that I need to do each day that help me stay in alignment with my goals, with this next level vision I have for myself, and to make sure that I'm also taking care of myself in the way that I need to so that I'm able to do that each day. So for me, the things that I've really identified as like my core values and being most important are being in the best shape that I can be, because I'm also trying to get players to take care of themselves, to eat properly, to train hard, to recover well. So I am a walking advertisement. And if I'm not doing those things for myself, it's really hard for me to then convince other people to do those things. So kind of what that's looked like is one, the 24-hour focus exercise, sitting down every day, laying out, here's the things I need to get done, and prioritizing the most important things for me first, which honestly every day is going to be getting up and doing some kind of movement or training, making sure I've planned out my meals for the day, and also making sure I get enough sleep too. So kind of working within those specific things of like, okay, when am I training? When am I getting my steps? What am I eating? Where am I getting that from? And then what time do I need to be in bed each day? And those kind of planning those things out first and doing that the night before so that I know going into the next day what I have to do helps tremendously. It takes a lot of the like decision fatigue out of my day, which my days are so full on. I don't have time for spur of the moment decisions. So from a travel context, what I always do, I know I'm going to be traveling, is I look and see, am I going to have a kitchen? If I'm not, what can I pack with me to at least be able to hit like my protein and then kind of what can I get around where I'm staying. So something that I do for myself that I also do for the team is I put together wherever we're staying, here are healthy restaurants or options nearby. And I put that together mainly for me, but also for them. It kind of worked out well that way. So I always make sure I have those things kind of laid out and ready. And then one of my favorite things to do is find really cool gyms on the road to train at. So because that's such a huge, important part of my day and how I like set myself up to be successful, I always kind of have this list of all the different cities that I travel to, the gyms there, and plan that out. And then there are certain times of the year when we don't get days off and we just work every single day, like during preseason. We're in one place, so I'm not traveling, but my days are 12, 14, 15 hours. More than anything, the 24-hour focus exercise is what gets me through those times. What time am I getting up? What time am I going to sleep? What am I eating? When am I training? As long as I do those things, I know the rest of my day is going to go well. So those have kind of been like the big things I do to help set myself up.
That's
Amazing.
incredible, babe. And one thing that I really noticed in yourself as well, and I picked up on this, especially through that that preseason where you were working those 14-hour days and it was just crazy, is yes, there were a lot of nights where maybe you didn't get as much sleep as what you usually would, or maybe instead of getting into the gym 3 times, you could only get in there 2 times for that week, for example. You always just had this exceptional mindset of focusing on what you could do. So if you couldn't get into the gym that day and you didn't get maybe the best sleep the night before, you still crushed your nutrition for that day. And it was that long-term consistency over a period of time that really led to your results. And I just loved and I admire that mindset in you of just focusing on what you can control.
Yeah, one of the things you guys taught me is just the like, what is the minimum I need to do? And making sure that I hit that. And that kind of gave me peace of mind because I think prior to working with you guys, I was always like, I have to do so much to be able to get to where I want to go. And then I would get overwhelmed. But with you guys, you were like, look, if you train twice a week, that's okay. You'll be fine. And just having someone else remind me that that was okay. And like, you're prioritizing sleep, you're prioritizing steps, you're doing these things, you're going to hit your goals. That like mindset shift of like, I don't need to do a million things. I just need to do a few things really well was so transformative for me in that process.
No, I love that. Like that is going to be one of the most valuable things I think the girls will get out of this call, because what I want to touch on now is, well, first question is, how many days on the road per year are you? Like how many days do you spend outside of your bed?
I think about half the year when I did the math, because preseason is basically 2 months. So for 2 months at the beginning of every year, I'm not home. I also love traveling. So in the off season, I also travel a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
So those like few months, I'm also like going and traveling.
No, I think it's a really good context shift for people that are listening back to this and think they have crazy lives, think they have hectic lives, and think that fitness is therefore going to have to be postponed or the process is not going to be
different.
And the biggest thing that obviously our philosophy and we travel 365 days of the year. We're always training in different gyms. We sometimes have access to a kitchen. Sometimes we don't. We're always on the move. So obviously we're living this day to day. But we do hear the excuse sometimes. We do hear the story sometimes that it's just when life gets busy, everything drops back to what we call like the old version of ourselves, the person who wasn't getting the results, the person that was struggling. How has the 24-hour focus exercise been transformative when you put it through the lens of those photos that obviously were taken and that version of Kate? Do you want to give us a little bit of a background as to maybe who you were before you were this individual that is just got their
Crushing it.
Yeah, crushing it and got their shit together? Because we all have that transformation story where that wasn't the case. Do you want to take us back a little bit and explain what it would used to look like when you used to travel and things, and maybe what the mindset shift has been ultimately there?
Yeah. So I would definitely say that I was this kind of all or nothing person where it's like, if I wasn't doing everything, then everything was just going like hell in a handbasket. So I would definitely say, in a metaphorical sense, if one of my tires had a hole in it, I would go back and slash the other three because why not? And all that did was just add to my stress and frustration, and it didn't make me feel good. And I think that like lack of alignment really weighed on me, like mentally and emotionally. And what I've learned is like through action is how I create evidence that I can do challenging things. And it also allows me to like see like, okay, I don't have to do a million things. I just need to do a few things and do those well. And it's okay if it's imperfect at times because that's life. But as long as I'm always striving for that ideal, and that ideal is actually something that's tangible and not this like unrealistic idea of what like perfection looks like in terms of schedule and training and all this stuff. And I can learn to develop this, like, these are the key things I need to do. If other things get done, if they don't, it's not. Like that shift for me was so like transformative just in my day to day, like mindset and just even with psychological stress, right? Because I also am surrounded by people that are in peak physical shape at all times, right? So like, it's this, like if I'm comparing myself to other people, I'm never going to be happy, right? But if I'm comparing myself to like where I'm going, who I'm becoming, and I can see like, yes, I'm doing these things every day that that person would do, that I feel really good. And when I feel really good, I keep going. And so I think there's been this shift for me away from like, if I'm not doing everything, then I'm failing. And if I'm failing, I may as well just like compound things, right? To, you know what? Here are the key things I need to do. If I do more, cool. If I can't do anything else that day and I just do those things, I can go to sleep at night thinking like I had a great day. And the more good days you have, and again, not every day is perfect and not every day I'm like, "Phew, I'm crushing it." But if I check off those things every day, I know at a bare minimum, I'm either like maintaining, which when life is really hectic could be a accomplishment in itself, or I move the needle just a little bit further. So that kind of process of shifting away from this super black and white mentality, simplify and just saying, okay, like, what are the things I need to do every day? And keeping that a simple list.
Yes.
That way I'm not setting myself up.
Yeah. So let's talk about minimalism then. Because that when you first came on board, what were you like? Let's walk through the all or nothing Kate's approach to training beforehand. What did that look like? What did the approach to training and nutrition? Give us a rough idea of the things you'd followed in the past.
Yeah. So before I was working with you guys, I was trying to balance my hormones. I had been struggling with weight gain. That was probably a combination of stress and myriad other things. And hormones felt like the answer. I have PCOS. I will say that, but like I've been managing that now for a long time. And I think that I made things so complicated by working with someone who was so focused on all of these like insane metrics that I would never do with my own.
What we call, just to point out, we call that inapplicable theoretical advice.
I remember the supplement.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes.
And just a side note for the girls here, like a lot of you come from that background, or you might even still get distracted by them. And it's this like, oh, take these supplements or balance your hormones. But really what happens is you start to get in such minutia that it's actually inapplicable to adhere to it day to day, week to week, month to month consistently.
And you lose sight of the big rocks that actually move.
Yeah. Was that just also leading to an on and off relationship with nutrition, where it's like, I'm trying to track every supplement perfectly, cut out sugar, cut out dairy, cut out gluten, cut out everything, like I know what your diet advice was before. It was a focus on what not to have. Was that the thing that then led to just ultimately poor adherence and calories going out of whack every so often?
There was a combination for sure. Like one, there were so many things they wanted me to do, so many supplements to take at specific times, checking my blood sugar multiple times a day, every day, which was honestly so stressful because I have Raynaud's in my hands and feet. and just getting blood drops in the winter was, oh man, I would get so frustrated. I'm like, okay, so what we do know is stress is really bad for us, right? And I was in trying to get healthy. I was creating so much stress for myself, just trying to do all of these things. And then there was this messaging that like, I needed to gain a bunch of weight in order to get healthy, which if you really think about it, like that doesn't really make sense at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
completely
felt
understand.
stressed looking at all of your protocols.
Yes.
Yeah.
Working with us.
But I think that's the main point, right? It's like minimalism. Because the thing that you probably believed when you came, well, let's touch on training before we get into that. Training, it's like, how did that look as well? What were you trying to do from a training perspective? Or how did that?
Yeah. So that they didn't want me to like stress myself out during training. So everything was like, you need to get a lot of steps, but it needs to be gentle. And if you're going to train and lift, like, don't push it too hard. Like all these like parameters that again created all of this stress. And I think with both the nutrition and the fact that like what they wanted me to do and where they wanted me to go wasn't at all in alignment with what I actually wanted. And then the training and all of these like different pieces. I think what would happen is I would get stressed and frustrated because I didn't feel in alignment with who I wanted to be. And at a certain point, you get so overwhelmed, you end up rebelling.
Yes.
And it took me a while to realize like, this is not who I am. This isn't what I want. And I don't believe that I'm that like broken to where the basics aren't going to work. And so that's kind of really what drew me to you guys is I like for a long time, I was just like watching online, just like, be like, wow, that looks great. But I wasn't at the place yet where I believed for myself that that was possible.
Yeah.
And like the more I just kind of observed and saw how you guys were teaching things and how you guys, like how your clients looked and what they did and what they were able to accomplish, I was like, why can't that be me? You know, and that's when I set up the call with you guys and everything changed.
Well, the last question I had there for you was like, you come on that call, right? And I still remember your first call. We were in Croatia, I think, at the time. And I remember this, like kind of your background coming from that kind of naturopathic, like, I call it like the test tube fitness approach where everything's just measured or got the blood sugar monitor and all this kind of thing going on. And I was just like, this girl's not going to believe like the process that we're about to give her. And I was actually quite afraid to even like, I thought you were just going to leave in week one because I thought you were going to, if you come from that background and just another background, your degree, right? You have, what level's your degree? You've got like a master's in.
I have a PhD
in
biomechanics. Yeah.
Sorry.
We were nervous.
We have Dr. Kate from the call here. So PhD in biomechanics. Yeah, I know. Well, went to university with the great Eric Helms, who if you're a coach or know anything about fitness, you'll know who Eric Helms is. So I'm selecting this call. I'm about to give Kate like a 1-day, 2-day training program. And we're going to give her
Simplify her nutrition
down to some calorie and protein requirements. But like, what did you feel in that first week? Did you believe that this was going to work?
Yeah,
or was it kind of like
how did you feel coming off that setup call and getting started?
I remember when you guys sent me everything and I looked through it and it was so simple. It was like how to set up your simplicity diet. It was like 2 pages. I was like, wow, that's it. And then I get the training program. I'm like, oh, that's it. And I just remember thinking to myself, because as someone who likes to pile it on, of course, I like decided that during spring training, the time period of the year I was referring to earlier, where I worked 14 or 16 hours a day with no days off, that was when I was going to make this switch, because why not? But I also remember being at this point in my life where I was like, what you've been doing hasn't been working and it hasn't been feeling good. And sometimes, like, especially with all of my education and background, it's like, sometimes you just need to like hand the keys to someone else and say, okay, you know what? Like what I've been doing isn't working. I'm ready to change things and just like go in on the process. And I think the relief I felt after the first week of, wow, I can actually do all of these things. Like I'm not like up at night going, did I take that supplement at the right time? Did I do this? Is my blood sugar this? Like none of that was there anymore. And I just remember like, even when I was setting up my simplicity diet, I was like, this feels like this is too basic. And then I thought about what I do with my own athletes. And I was like, all right, let's just try and see what happens. Right. Like the worst that can happen is that I'm exactly where I am and nothing changes. And best case scenario is things change and I'm in a place I didn't think that I was going to be for a long time. So to me, it was like, all right, why not? And so I did. And I think working with you guys has been so huge for me from a mindset standpoint, because the things that you guys have taught are just so approachable. And it's not like, sometimes when people give you advice, it's you're like, but I'm here. And what you're advising is like here. Like, how do I bridge that gap? And that can feel overwhelming. You guys have always been like, even if what we're shooting for is way up here, you're like, it's cool. We're going to do it. And here are the steps. So it's like that meeting someone where they're at, like, you have been stressed and overwhelmed with all of this. Let's make it really simple for you and do that stuff and see what happens. And don't worry, like we're meeting regularly. We're not going to let you get to this point of no return. And that was also something that really helped, because I think when you're doing something new and you have this fear of like, what if things get worse? It's because you're just afraid that things are just going to like snowball. But what you guys taught me was like, no, that's not going to happen. You're not going to let that happen. And I think I took a lot of comfort in that. And that trust piece of like, just try it, right? And seeing it work and then continuing to like be able to come to you guys with whatever came up and having these like really simple, actionable things I could do is what really kind of made it easy, for lack of a better word, to like shift to a different way.
No, and that is it. The simplicity, the word you brought up there before was overwhelm. And it's this overwhelming feeling that we have sometimes when we have too much to do. And most of it is 9 times out of 10 unnecessary for the outcomes we want. So I talk a lot about what I call like the active achievement threshold, which is once we're above it, cool, hang out. You don't need to keep climbing the mountain if you can already
You don't
see.
get any more points for hustling harder.
Yeah, exactly. So we need, like, once we know the principles and we know what that achievement threshold is, fitness is not your be all and end all for any of you girls on this program, even someone like yourself who's working in the sports industry. It is just something that is meant to make the rest of your life better. It's something that's meant to enhance the quality of other areas of your life. And once we know what those achievement thresholds are, once we know what our calorie ranges are, and we hit them every day and we set up a simplicity diet to do that, once we get our 2 to 3 high quality strength training sessions in per week, right? Once we get our steps in and make sure we're moving, and once we get our sleep in, those core 4 are the practical elements. That what you spoke about, which I think is the thing that the girls are going to get the most value from, is taking that vision, which if you look at Kate's photos from what she's achieved, that's the vision that they're like, to put it this way, we have applicants now sending through your photos.
Wow.
There you go. But you take that vision and then you strip it all the way down to the 24-hour focus exercise. And that is the reason we had you on this call, is because the 24-hour focus exercise is the thing that has transformed my life in any way possible. Micah, I know
it's taken away so much stress,
but
I feel so much more at peace.
Most people would look at your results and then wouldn't believe, obviously the simplicity of the plan is one thing, but it wasn't really the simplicity of the plan on its own. I think this allowed you to implement this with your schedule. I think it's that one simple mindset shift exercise of, if I just nail today, the next 24 hours, and it's not even 24 hours, right? You're planning it the day before, but you're really just saying, hopefully 7 to 8 of those hours you're asleep. So it's like a 12, 14 hour exercise, but can I just handle tomorrow? Can I make tomorrow the best it can be? And the best it can be, yet again, we're not saying it has to be perfect and overwhelming. It's the best it can be at hitting these simple things. And if you can just get into that pattern of doing that, you wake up in 6 months' time, you wake up in a year's time.
Recreate that momentum. And I loved what you said as well, babe, about you created so much evidence for yourself to then believe that that was just who you are, right? Because I know that one thing you mentioned after you did your incredible photo shoot with Sarah in your reflection video that you did is that there was a time where you didn't think it was possible. And do you remember when that shift was for you that you had where you started to believe like, no, this is possible for me to achieve that vision and bring it to life like you did in the photos with Sarah?
Yeah. So I remember I listened and take notes after you guys have your like weekly calls. I do that with my check-ins and I do it with the different lectures you guys give. And I remember one of the lectures spoke, well, many of the lectures in different ways, got at this idea of like, who are you becoming and what is that person's like day look like? And I remember sitting and thinking like, okay, sometimes I have imposter syndrome. Sometimes I feel like things seem unattainable, but like if they were attainable and I was that person, like, what do I do? Because I think the hardest part about believing things are possible is it's hard to imagine yourself in that situation. And you guys talked about like, what does that day look like for you? And I remember I've like many times have done this exercise since writing down, like, what does that day look like if I'm that person? And once I wrote it down and I realized I could be that person now.
Yes.
And I could be that person every day. That is kind of really when it shifted for me because it went from something that felt intangible to something that felt very real and very like achievable. And so that process of realizing if I want to become this vision I had for myself, I need to know what that looks like. And knowing what that looks like and realizing like I can do all of those things then made me feel like, okay, who I was before, fine, whatever, but I can be this person now. And so structuring the day that way and then building evidence, right? Like even if I wake up tomorrow morning and feel completely overwhelmed, because I definitely have days like that. When I look at my to-do list or my calendar and I'm like, whoa, how is that going to work? I always like can look back and go, well, I did it all these other days. So it's going to work just like that. You're just going to do the next right thing and you already have a plan and you're just going to nail it. And that's it. And the other thing that you guys talked about a lot too is like looking at what I have to do or my values and all these things and looking at my schedule and then going, okay, what do I not need to do? Okay. When I'm really stressed out and overwhelmed, I really don't need to clean my house like a psychopath. Yeah. Because in the past I would do that. Why pile it on? Why make it harder on myself? That like next level mission doesn't do that. And
no, but it's true. It's the natural accumulation of things that we have like in our lives. Like, we even notice it. We live out of obviously one suitcase each, right? And that's it. We've been doing that for 5 years now. And you'll be surprised at how your suitcase can accumulate crap. So like stuff will come into it because you just keep, that's a nice little Christmas decoration that I'll buy for my fictitious Christmas tree at some point in the future, right? Things like this accumulate. But it's the same thing with your trading. You start, I'll add that exercise in, I'll add this in and maybe that, or my nutrition, I'll maybe add these supplements, or maybe I'll cut out this. And you usually add by putting more rules in, right? With your nutrition. It's better to eat at this time and it's better to do this and better to do that. And yeah, that accumulation over time in your day just creates more, it creates less space. And what I personally learned just in my like short time, it's getting longer, but short time on this earth is that if you just create space, and I learned from we're in Montenegro right now. I learned from like the 70, 80-year-old guys that I meet here in Montenegro. They don't do anything. And it's not because they're like retired. They've not been doing anything for about 50 years. They get up, they work hard on the things that they do to provide for their family and things. And then they
swim,
chill, swim, play cards, there's none of this, and they have a very, very what I call like a high quality life, and they're healthy, they're mentally healthy, they're physically healthy.
Great relationship.
And we see this all over Europe in these countries that are a lot more, like less commercialized, less like capitalistic, go, 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 go all the time. So coming from obviously elite sport in the USA, you're in that environment already. You're going to have parts of that going, like we all encounter areas of that of our life. That's fine. It's okay to have parts of that of your life. Don't make your entire life that. Simplify, minimize, create that space, and don't create these false stories that we have to do things. 9 times out of 10, the things that we can eliminate it's better to, and I'm going to go on a little side tangent here, teach a little bit, but real core concept that I've got in my head from, which reminded of it this week, that's why I'm bringing it up, is 10 years ago, I listened to a podcast episode by Tim Ferriss. He's very good, like in a personal development guy online. And he talked about this concept, and it was the difference between efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency is doing something very efficiently and very well, right? So we can all go into the gym for a 90-minute, 2-hour workout and become the most efficient we can at that workout and do it perfectly. Or we can become super efficient and focus on being efficient with our nutrition. That is a bunch of different supplements and all of these different food rules and 5 meals a day, set meal timing, etc. We could put so much time and effort into doing that, but it doesn't mean that it's actually going to lead to any more effectiveness, meaning outcomes in our life being met. Outcomes in our life, effectiveness is all about doing the right things. So you should spend more time focusing on doing the right things rather than doing a lot of things very well. Mm-hmm. And if you do a small amount of things very well, it actually beats out 5, 10, 15, 20 things half-assed, right? Because the focus is going purely into those things and maximizing.
And most people don't believe me when I say that you train twice per week to get ready for your photoshoot transformation.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not going to.
The events of those workouts were extremely high.
So I think that's something that is a huge, it's been a breakthrough for us. The whole program is built on that idea. Everything's been filtered, and you didn't have maybe that belief at the start, but as Mike was saying, you built that belief with evidence over time. And it's just been absolutely phenomenal to see your transformation result from that, because less really is more when you put that focus towards the right things.
Oh, absolutely. The other thing I learned from you guys is that it's okay to have a rest day. And I kid you not, like if I have a day off now, I try to do as little as possible. It's not pile on all the different things you think you need to do with your day, all the laundry, all the whatever's. No, I literally just try to give myself rest because it's so critical for me. And I think part of the mindset shift has been no one is measuring me, including me, on how many things I do in a day. And when I get older, I don't want to look back and be like, wow, I did so many things every day. That's not what I want my life to be about. I want to focus on the things that are most important to me. A day of rest and then dinner with my significant other beats out a day full of all these millions of things I think I should be doing. So that's also been like a really huge piece for me.
Oh, I've massively seen that shift in you, babe. I remember we've had so many check-ins where you've been asking questions and I'm like, okay, the one thing I want you to do this weekend is nothing. I just want you to do absolutely nothing. And you would always report back, you're like, I feel so much better.
Yes.
Doing nothing is a good habit to get into. One of my favorite quotes is like, you'll ask me, what are you doing today? It's like, I'm doing nothing. I just don't know where I'm going to do it yet. So it's like a nice, nice pair of minds. But
honestly, babe, thank you so much for
before we wrap it up, I just wanted to finish with one last question. And that was around this idea of the becoming self and framing your 24-hour focus exercise. At what point did you start to see that overlap happen? Did you see that moment in time where you were like, wait a minute, I am her. I am literally her right now.
Well, every 2 weeks I do that like refocus exercise that you guys recommend. I'm like, all right, in the last 2 weeks, How have I been with my nutrition? Have I been living in alignment with that person I'm becoming? How have I been with my training and all these other pieces? Really adding that in, I think, was it like something that really shifted things for me, because I was regularly going back and revisiting, oh, I am actually doing the things that this person I want to be would do.
Yeah.
So that reflection, I do it on the off weeks between my check-ins. It's a really good kind of like, it's on my calendar. And so basically every week there's some sort of reflection happening.
I have a bit of a different question for you as well, which is going to be more the one for the girls here. But I remember when you sent through the inspirational photos that you had for the photo shoot, right? Because we were planning that together. How did it feel when you did the photo shoot with Sarah and you actually got to see what the shots looked like on the back of the camera? What was that experience like?
All right. So to be clear, I barely take photos of myself outside of check-ins. I just don't. I've always just been someone who has never really loved being in front of a camera. And I remember showing up and we did the first couple of shots and she shows me on the camera and I was like, oh my God, who is that? Like, whoa. I was like, the photos looked beyond what I had imagined. And I think that like immediate process, I felt super confident after. I was like, wow, like this is even better than I imagined. And I just felt like so proud of myself because I was doing something that was like in years past would have felt completely out of character. And not only that, it was like by the time I was done, I was like, I need to do better. And what am I going to do for that? You know, it was like such a cool experience. And I just walked away from that with such a high, I guess, of like, wow, you really did that thing. And for me in the past, and this is going to sound funny because of all of the education and things, like I wouldn't even walk in graduation because I had this idea of like, everyone gets a degree, everyone does this. Like I wouldn't celebrate the wins. And I think through this process and doing something like that and actually taking the time to feel what it felt like to celebrate and how good that felt, I was like, wow, like not only is it okay to celebrate your wins, but like it's such a positive thing for someone who's never done that to take the time to actually do it. And after that, I just remember like walking around and just feeling so confident. And then I get all the photos back because you're not seeing all of them as you're doing them. And I was like, whoa, like, I still can't believe that's me, but it is, you know? And like, sometimes like everyone has days where they're on and off. If I have a day where I'm kind of feeling down on myself, usually around my period, I will like go back and look at some of those photos and be like, oh yeah, that's me.
And this is the crescendo I wanted to get to, which is you've been on the program for quite a while now, and we've had a teaching concept and kind of a core principle behind the program. We're called the 5 rules, right? So the 5 rules of the system that we use within the one-on-one coaching. And the 5th rule that we've been retouching on and trying to figure out like the best way to word it, and it's live like her. And what we mean by that is it's a rule where you take that vision exercise from the first day of the program. We get you to do that vision exercise. And yes, obviously it's the physical aspect of who do I want to be, but it's more importantly, the characteristics of that person. Who are they? How do they behave? How do they think? How do they talk? How do they show up in the world? And that is your North Star. That is the person, your hero self that you're now aiming for. And then you take that. And yes, of course, there's training and nutrition and all that kind of stuff built into the system where you simplify all of that. The main thing is taking your 24-hour focus exercise and not doing it as old you, right? It's doing it as this person. It's living as her, living your life each day as her. Because if you live each day, and this is the kicker here, and this is the thing why I wanted to bring you onto the call, is that your results are so exceptional because that's what you did. You just showed up every day. You handled all of the travel and all of the crazy scheduling and all of the highly demanding, highly stressful like things going on. But you lived like her. You lived like that woman who showed up in front of that camera and took those photos. And now you are her. And what's interesting with that kind of example of looking back at the photos, live like her. Yeah. It's like now you have evidence that you are her, and you just need to remind yourself each day and hold on to that persona and hold on to that characteristics. And identity, the original kind of Greek meaning of the word is repeated beingness. It's repeated action, taking action, showing yourself evidence that you are that individual. And
I loved what you were saying before, babe, where you were like, I just started, like, I saw that I could do that today. You didn't need to wait for that to happen. It was something that you visualized it and you were like, oh yeah, I can be her in the next 24 hours. I really loved how you explained that.
And I think that's probably the number one lesson for the girls to walk away from this interview with is do the damn 24-hour focus. It's the first lesson in the school group right now. It's the thing that we always point to. And I would say that 95% of the problems that arise in this journey
Come from a lack of doing that.
Come from either overwhelm, like just getting too far ahead, thinking about Wednesday when it's only Sunday night, right? And you're like, well, I've got a birthday party on Wednesday. Who cares? Focus on Monday, right? It's like, it's that overwhelm concept, and not therefore not executing Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, correct? But the other thing is not having that ability to show up and enjoy the process and feel centered around and aligned that you are really kind of building that inner confidence from showing yourself evidence that you're executing. So you've been an absolute master student from that. Like, I felt like you could have come and given a presentation on how to do. No, I'm being 100% honest. Like, I was hearing these lessons and stuff that are in the program and buried deep inside these lectures. Go away and watch these lectures.
You've watched every single one, haven't you, babe?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Live like her is the concept. You are. Next vision though. Have you got that kind of set? Have you got the time frame and stuff set with Micah to get the vision set for the next photo shoot?
I do. Yeah. I want to do another photo shoot actually with my partner as well. We've never taken really photos together, and I have this vision of what I want to look like and what I want to feel. And then I also want to be able to share that with someone I love.
Yeah.
So that to me is kind of like the next thing that I want to do is all of this stuff is great. And I love that I've been able to do all of it, but part of what I love is by being this person, I'm a better person for the people I care about in my life. Like, it was super cute. My parents, after I had my photo shoot, was like, we want to get a photo for you. I was like, we'll go with the headshots. We won't go with like a full-on bikini photo, but
not that
cute.
Signature outfit.
They were also just like, they were super proud too. My partner was super proud. I realized like the things that I do to take care of myself extend far beyond me. When I take care of myself, I'm a better partner, I'm a better daughter, I'm a better employee, I'm a better leader. And so I always just kind of keep that in mind. So yeah, my next vision is just to kind of like continue to expand on my results and also to share that with someone I love.
Amazing. And I want you to understand that, as I said, it already is making an impact. We're having applicants reach out when we ask them to do their vision setting exercise. They're sending through photos of yourself in that.
And I know that this interview is going to be so helpful for so many of the girls. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. And you just got to understand that every single one of you girls on the program, as well as Kate, who show up every day, like, it has a ripple effect. And it is not selfish. Yeah, it's not a selfish thing to do, to show up and put your goals first and work towards it and improve. It is incredibly inspiring. It inspires us every single day, and it inspires people around you. And if you inspire people around you, then they are going to show up and actually believe in themselves that they can go after the same thing. So never dim your light, show up, do the work. And Kate, thank you again for doing this. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I hope that you really enjoyed listening to that chat that we had with Kate. And if you take one thing away from this interview that we did, it's that no matter how busy you are, no matter how hectic your schedule is, achieving an exceptional result is 100% possible for you. You just need the right environment and you just need the right system to implement. So if you are looking for a coach, if you are looking to have the full coaching experience that Kate had, then I'd absolutely love to help. And you can find all of the details about joining the one-on-one coaching team below this video. But if you're not quite ready yet for the full one-on-one coaching experience, then I think you'd absolutely love my How to Recomp workshop. It is such a great place to start, and that will teach you the training protocols, the nutrition protocols that all of our one-on-one coaching clients implement to get in amazing shape. So you can find the link to that as well below this video. So have an amazing day. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll catch you in the next video.